Hey Rockets, Mrs. Wilkenbush back with you. We are doing Warriors by Erin Hunter. Hey, I need to apologize. A couple people told me that there was some glitches with my audios. I apologize. So I'm trying to do it with an earpiece, and hopefully that will eliminate some of that. But if not, sorry. It's what we got. So, Warriors by Erin Hunter. We are doing chapter 17 today. Here we go. Sunlight came and went as the cats made their way through wind-cleansed old hunting grounds. Their heavy silence showed that they were still sore after the rat fight. Firepaw felt scratched and bitten all over. He could see Gray Paw was limping, occasionally hopping on three legs to protect his injured back leg. But it was Blue Star who worried him most. Her pace was even slower now, but she refused to stop and rest. The grim look on her face, clouded by pain, told Firepaw how much she wanted to reach Thunder Clan camp. Don't worry about Shadow Clan warriors, she meowed through gritted teeth as Tiger Claw paused to sniff the air. You won't find any here today. How could she be so sure? Firepaw wondered. They picked their way carefully down the steep, rocky hillside that led to four trees and joined the trail home. It was late afternoon, and Firepaw began to think longingly of his nest and a plump helping of fresh kale. I can still smell the scent of Shadow Clan, Gray Paw muttered to Firepaw as they trekked through Thunder Clan hunting grounds. Perhaps the breezes carried it down from Wind Clan's way, Firepaw suggested. He could smell it too, and his whiskers were trembling. Suddenly, Ravenpaw stopped. Can you hear that? He mewed in a hushed voice. Firepaw strained his ears. At first he heard only the familiar sounds of the forest. Leaves rustling, a pigeon calling. Then his blood ran cold. In the distance he could hear battling, hungry yells and the shrill squeal of terrified kids. Quick, Blue Star howled. It is the Star Clan warned me. Our camp is being attacked. She tried to leap forward, but stumbled. She pushed herself up and limped onward. Tiger Claw and Firepaw pelted forward side by side. Gray Paw and Ravenpaw followed, their tail fur bristled to twice its usual side. Firepaw forgot his soreness as he charged toward the camp. His only concern was to protect the clan. The sounds of the battle grew louder and louder as he neared the camp entrance, and the stench of Shadow Clan filled his nostrils. He was right behind Tiger Claw as the cats dashed through the tunnel into the clearing. They were met by a frenzy of fighting. Thunder Clan cats batting furiously with Shadow Clan warriors. The kids were out of sight, and Firepaw hoped that they were safely hidden in the nursery. He guessed the weakest elders would be sheltering inside the hollow trunk of their fallen tree. Every corner of the camp seemed alive with warriors. Firepaw could see Frostfur and Goldenflower clawing and biting at a huge gray tom. Even the young tabby queen, Brittleface, was fighting, though she was very close to kidding. Darkstripe was locked in a fierce tussle with the black warrior. Three of the elders, Small Air, Patchpelt, and One Eye, were nipping bravely at the tortoiseshell who fought with twice their speed and ferocity. The returning cats hurled themselves into the battle. Firepaw caught a hold of the tabby warrior queen, not much larger than him, and sank his teeth deep into her leg. She yelled with pain and turned on him, lashing out with sharp claws, and lunging at his neck with her teeth bared. He twisted and ducked to avoid her bite. She couldn't match his speed, and he managed to grasp her from behind and pull her down into the dirt. With his strong hind legs, he clawed her back until she squealed and struggled away from him, running headlong into the thick undergrowth that surrounded the camp. Firepaw glanced around to see that Blue Star had arrived. Despite her injuries, she was fighting another tabby. Firepaw had never seen her fight before, but even wounded, she was a powerful opponent. Her victim struggled to escape, but she held him tightly and clawed him so fiercely that Firepaw knew he would bear the scars for this fight for many moons. Then he saw a white Shadow Clan cat with jet black paws dragging a Thunder Clan elder away from the nursery. Firepaw remembered those unusual dark paws from the gathering Blackfoot. The Shadow Clan deputy made quick work of killing the elder, who had been guarding the kids, and began to reach into the bramble nest with one massive paw. The kids were squealing and mewling, undefended now as their mothers wrestled with other Shadow Clan warriors in the clearing. Firepaw prepared to spring toward the nursery, but a claw sliced painfully down his side as he whipped around to see a scrawny tortoiseshell leap on top of him. As he slammed into the ground, he tried to call out to the other Thunder Clan cats that the kids were in danger. Fighting with all his strength to escape the tortoiseshell's grip, he wrenched his head around so that he could see the bramble nest. Blackfoot had scooped 2 kits from their bedding already and was reaching in for a third. Firepaw saw no more the tortoiseshell rake as the tortoiseshell raked his belly with her hind claws. Firepaw scabbed onto his feet and crouched low as if in defeat. The trick had worked before, and it worked now. As the tortoiseshell gripped him triumphantly and began to sink her teeth into Firepaw's neck, Firepaw sprang upward as hard as he could and flung the warrior away. He spun around and was on the winded warrior in an instant. This time he showed no mercy, plunging his teeth deep into the cat's shoulder. The bite sent the she-cat howling into the undergrowth. Firepaw jumped and dashed over to the nursery and thrust his head through the nursery entrance. Blackfoot was nowhere to be seen. Inside the nest, crouching over terrified kits, was Yellow Fang. Her gray fur was splattered with blood, and one of her eyes was painfully swollen. She looked up at Firepaw with a ferocious hiss, and then, realizing it was him, she yelled, "They're okay, I'll protect them." Firepaw looked at her as she calmed the helpless kids. A Broken Star's dire warning about the Shadow Clan rogue flashed through his mind. He didn't have time to think about that now. He would have to trust Yellow Fang. He nodded quickly and ducked back out of the brambles. There were only a few Shadow Clan left in the camp. Ravenpaw and Greypaw were fighting side by side, lashing out at a Black Tom until he fled howling into the bushes. White Storm and Darkstripe chased the last 2 intruders out of the camp, sending them off with a few extra scratches and bites. Firepaw sat down exhausted and stared around the camp. It was devastated. Blood spattered the clearing and tufts of fur drifted in the dust. The surrounding wall of undergrowth was ripped open where the invaders had crashed through. One by one, the ThunderClan cats gathered beneath the high rock. Greypaw came to sit by him, his sides heaving and blood trickling from his torn ear. Ravenpaw flopped down and began to lick a wound on his tail. The queens ran to the nursery to check on their kits. Firepaw found himself waiting tensely for their return, his view blocked by the other cats. He relaxed when he heard the squeals and purrs of joy coming from the bramble nest. Frostfur wolfed her way back through the crowd, followed by Yellow Fang. The White Queen stepped forward and addressed them. "Our kits are all safe, thanks to Yellow Fang. A Shadow Clan warrior killed a brave Rosetail and was trying to steal them from their nest, but Yellow Fang fought him off." "It was no ordinary Shadow Clan warrior either," Firepaw put in. "He was determined to let the clan know how much they owed Yellow Fang. I saw him. It was Blackfoot." "A Shadow Clan deputy?" meowed Bridleface, who had fought so bitterly to protect the unborn kits in her swollen belly. There was a stir at the edge of the group as Bluestar limped forward and made her way over to the apprentices. The grave expression on her face was enough to tell Firepaw that something was wrong. "Spotted Leaf is with Lionheart," she murmured. "He was injured in the battle. It looks bad." She turned her head toward the shadow on the far side of the high rock, where the warrior lay, a motionless bundle of dusty golden fur. A high-pitched wail rose from Greypaw's throat, and he raced over to Lionheart. Spotted Leaf, who had been leaning over the ThunderClan deputy, stepped back to let the young apprentice share tongues for the last time with his mentor. As Greypaw's howl of grief echoed around the clearing, Firepaw's fur tingled and his blood ran cold. It was the cry he had heard in his dream. For a moment his head swam, then he gave himself a shake. He had to keep calm for Greypaw's sake. Firepaw looked at Bluestar, who nodded, and he padded over to join his friend by the high rock. He stopped for a moment beside Spotted Leaf. She looked exhausted and dull-eyed with grief. "I can't help Lionheart now," she mewed quietly to him. "He is on his way to join StarClan." She pressed her body against Firepaw's side, and he felt comforted by the touch of her warm fur. The other cats looked on in silence as the sun slowly set behind the trees. Finally, Greypaw sat up and cried out, "He's gone." He lay down beside Lionheart's body and rested his head on his front paws. The rest of the clan walked silently forward to carry out their own grieving rituals for their beloved deputy. Firepaw joined them. He licked Lionheart's neck and murmured, "Thank you for your wisdom. You taught me so much." Then he sat down beside Graypaw and began gently to groom his friend's ear. Blue Star waited until the other cats had left before padding quietly up. Graypaw didn't even seem to notice his leader's presence. Firepaw looked away as Blue Star spoke her last words to her old friend. "Oh, what am I going to do without you, Lionheart?" she whispered. Then she limped back to her den and crouched down outside, staring a grief-stricken into the distance. She didn't even try to lick clean her bloody, matted fur. It was the first time Firepaw had seen her utterly defeated, and he felt a chill run through him. He sat with Graypaw and Lionheart until the moon rose high. Ravenpaw joined him, and together they kept company with their grieving friend. Tigerclaw strode over and briefly shared tongues with Lionheart. Firepaw waited to hear what words he would share with the warrior friend, but Tigerclaw remained silent as he licked the matted fur. To Firepaw's confusion, the dark tabby's eyes seemed to be fixed on Ravenpaw, then the fallen deputy. Spotted Leaf padded lightly around the camp, tending to wounds and battered nerves. Firepaw watched her approach Blue Star twice, but each time the leader sent her away to see to the others. Only when Spotted Leaf had attended to the other wounds of all the other cats did Blue Star allow her to treat her bites and scratches. When she had finished, Spotted Leaf turned and walked back to her den. Blue Star stood and slowly hauled herself up onto the high rock. The clan cat seemed to have been waiting for her. As soon as she had settled herself in her usual spot, they began to gather in the clearing below, unusually silent and somber-faced. Firepaw and Ravenpaw got stiffly to their paws and joined them, leaving Graypaw behind with Lionheart's body. The gray apprentice was still lying with his nose resting against Lionheart's cooling golden pelt. Firepaw guessed Blue Star would excuse Graypaw from the clan meeting this time. "It is nearly moon high," meowed Blue Star as Firepaw slipped into the place next to Ravenpaw. "And it is once more my duty, much, much too soon, to name ThunderClan's new deputy." Her voice was tired and cracked with sadness. Firepaw looked from warrior to warrior. They were all looking expectantly at Tigerclaw. Even White Storm had turned to watch the dark tabby. From the bold expression on his face and the way his whiskers twitched in anticipation, Tigerclaw seemed to agree with them. Blue Star took a deep breath and continued, "I say these words before the body of Lionheart, so that his spirit may approve of my choice." She hesitated. "I have not forgotten how one cat avenged the death of Redtail and brought his body back to us. ThunderClan needs a fearless loyalty even more now." Blue Star paused again and then meowed the name loud and clear. "Tigerclaw will be the new deputy of ThunderClan." There was a yell of approval with the loudest voices belonging to Darkstripe and Longtail. White Storm sat calmly, his eyes closed, his tail wrapped neatly around him. He was nodding slowly and approvingly. Tigerclaw lifted his paw proudly, his eyes half closed as he listened to the clan. Then he stalked through the crowd, accepting tributes with the smallest of nods, and leaped up onto the high rock beside Blue Star. "ThunderClan," he yelled, "I am honored to accept the position of the clan deputy. I never expected to gain such a high rank, but by the spirit of Lionheart, I vow to serve you as best I can." He gravely dipped his head, fixing the crowd with his wide yellow eyes, and jumped down from the high rock. Firepaw heard Ravenpaw murmur, "Oh no," under his breath beside him. He turned to look curiously at his friend. Ravenpaw's head was hanging low. "She should never have chosen him," he muttered. "Are you talking about Tigerclaw?" Firepaw whispered. "He's wanted to be a deputy ever since he took care of Redtail." Ravenpaw mewed. He stopped abruptly. "Took care of Redtail?" Firepaw echoed. His mind suddenly raced with questions. What did Ravenpaw know? At the gathering, had his account of the battle with River Clan been true? Was Tigerclaw responsible for Redtail's death? And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 17. Whew, this is getting pretty intense as well. I hope you're all doing well. I'll see you soon, Rockets.